what are the practical ways in which we can move this agenda forward in terms of education and awareness, in terms of working with government across the continent, and in terms of scaling up, these exciting ideas and innovation. So please, if you have any thoughts, we're going to stick around in this main room, as well as the chat. You can use the chat as well. And Tracy and some of our colleagues will be helping to compile these ideas as coming from this session. Okay, so please, if you want to contribute to any of these items in any particular order, you can please indicate by raising your hand and then unmuting yourself to speak. So this is about practical ideas and ways. Or people may want to share some of the things they've been involved with that have not been mentioned. Okay, thank you. That is Chifungo. Yes, you can unmute yourself and yeah, you're home. And I will come back then afterwards to Dr. Okay. Chifungo, you're home.
Thanks, Dr. Kolade. I will just share a little bit about, I think, raising awareness. What we have experienced really is there's need to get on the ground, especially when it comes to new digital tools. We found that a lot of the processes are still manual, as many of the speakers highlighted throughout the course of the day. And the people with first contact materials when it comes to recovery, majority low-income earners. And while some may have access to smartphones which can access the web and also install mobile apps, the majority do not have. One of the challenges we face with those who have smartphones is the cost of data. And so one of the ways we're dealing with that challenge is encouraging the sharing of these tools. So mostly these groups, these retailers actually work in groups. And if you can have one or two in a group of 20 who has a smartphone, that then becomes kind of like the layer which connects those who might not necessarily have access to these digital tools. We also found that it's important to also look at offline channels like SMS, which are much more affordable, and kind of trying to replicate the same experience one would get on a web or smartphone app in a kind of offline setup, and also looking at things like USSD for that purpose. But overall, I think having people on the ground, helping onboard these users first time and getting them to appreciate the value that is delivered to them once they migrate to a digital tool, kind of builds that relationship and also confidence that the people we're trying to encourage to use these tools have in those of us who are actually advocating for the use of these tools. So I guess I'll end there on that comment. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Fungo. I suppose what I'm picking from there is the need to do more groundwork, footwork on the ground, interacting directly with people in order to be able to move this forward, and not just relying on the people just connecting online or through virtual digital platform. You need that, but you also need to do more direct work on the ground. Yes. Thank you for that. There's Okechukwu. Yeah, you're on. You can please unmute yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I just was reflecting back at some of the experience I've had here in the UK. And I looking back I mean, I watched the video which was shared. I think it was very provocative, but it's actually the reality on the ground. And I was wondering how the plastics got there. Now, one thing which we use quite a lot in terms of manufacturing here in the in circular economy transition is to try and embed sensors into manufacturing products to see how we can track the product life cycle once it's within once it's being built. In service with the consumer, and also going back to wherever it's going through that recycling, manufacturing, reuse, and all that. And with that, we can then begin to then see what area of this loop needs more circular intervention. What area can be can be improved. How can we track this product much better? And if we then put that within the plastic context, I think the previous speaker made a very good mention of the collaboration between, first of all, one thing that has improved collaboration, I mean, see research in Europe is actually the industry and university partnership. We do a lot of research together, and that's how we the results are quite real time, as it were. So that is something that one would suggest should go on within Africa. Secondly, as well, I know this is where we have this Ditch Plastic conference and also the Ditch Plastic network. But it's important that academics within Africa begin to share these research questions from their side, and it shouldn't just come from here, because of I would say that bringing the research questions, sharing it within a diverse panel, one can begin to seek a final. I can help you answer that particular question. We can try and put sensors in the plastic and see how we can trace if this plastic will go here from Amsterdam, for instance, get to the Atlantic in Lagos in Ghana, and or we can say, fine, we can see much of this plastic waste comes from this particular region, this particular country. Can we begin to collect data from the users in this particular country and see how they feel towards hearing that their product end up at the shores of the Atlantic in Africa, that sort of thing. So that kind of that's the groundwork I think that needs to be done. And with that, you can then begin to get real data, and then you can begin to have act on solutions that are actionable solutions that come from the ground. So this is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's really interesting stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. Okechukwu. There's a comment here now on the chat. That is from Colin. I imagine this is Colin Akumabo. Can you bring him on, or bring them on to speak, if possible? Yes. Colin, you're on. Can you elaborate a bit more on your comments in the chat?
Thank you very much, Dr. Kolade. Very great presentation by all the panelists. I'm very happy to be here. So Robo Foundation, we're a nonprofit, and we're in partnership with Project ECHO to democratize knowledge globally. And our current project is working on the environment. We tagged it Environment ECHO because we identified that issues regarding the environment seem to be neglected. So we want to kind of mentor people, communities, starting from schools and different communities, government stakeholders, on the issues about the environment that need to be addressed. So top of the list is recycling, and I'm very happy to be part of this forum, and hopefully we can collaborate and rub minds on how to make these sessions to be very fruitful.
Thanks so much, Colin. So is this an inaugural session, this telementoring session you're running, or?
Yes, it's inaugural. We've been planning for the past couple of months. We're just about to launch.
Oh, okay, so you've run some session before.
Yes, we have, and other health topics, but now we want to face the environment.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. I mean, so that sounds really very interesting and great idea. And I'm sure there will be a number of participants and panelists here who will be interested in your work. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from any of the other panelists? So I mean, so I was going to ask them while we're waiting for others who might want to speak. I think one of the things about these digital platforms is that they operate as multi-sided platforms, and in order to really scale them up, you need to also enable users to be users as well as developers. Is what I mean. So I wonder if any of the digital innovators here can speak to what are your user engagement strategies, and what has been your experience in terms of growing your platform for those who have had their platform for more than a year. Are there any insights you might want to share with regard to upscaling that maybe innovators in other countries can draw ideas and insights from in terms of growing the platform through user engagement, to really enabling users to also be creators and developers? Any thoughts from any of the digital innovators on this? Okay, is that a new hand, Chifungo?
Yes, it is.
Or is that not a new one? Yes. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, so I think Dr. Timothy must have mentioned this. The value of plastic just for resale really doesn't fetch much. And what we've learned is you're lucky if you could maybe get like 1.5 times value out of it when you reintroduce it into the value chain. But we see 3D printing as being one of those solutions that could actually help us maximize the value we extract from the plastic waste. So if you take a look, a lot of the consumer electronics, a lot of imports, for example, solar lamps, these are mainly covered in plastic. When you look at batteries, imported battery sets, these are mainly covered in plastic. And when we did our work last year on solar e-waste and also plastic packaging that goes to that, we found that there's a significant value that plastic is. So the electronics are actually just minor. A lot of the value goes to the plastic casing, a lot of the value to the shipping and the distribution. But you see that if you actually replace the plastic casing for a damaged solar lamp, you can actually push the value of that plastic by 100 times. So we see so many other unique products that are in demand on the local African market that could add 50, 100 times value, or even more to plastic through 3D printing, simply for the fact that it allows you to easily change the shape of the object you want to come out with. And then you can have multiple applications. For example, water filters in rural communities. Water pumps are in demand, whether in rural, urban communities. So these are high value products. So a kilo of plastic that you could only sell for, say, $1 or $2, if you actually convert it into a water filter, for example, you can see that there's this exponential jump in value. So I just wanted to share an insight on that. With the ability to be able to manufacture locally with a very minimal space and low power usage, we think that this is one of the ways distributed manufacturing coupled with material recovery could actually play a much more greater role within local communities, especially African communities, including the farming communities that are so. If they could make their nets from that plastic, that would be great. And that is somewhat very possible with new technologies such as additive manufacturing and the like.
Yeah.
So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ifungu. Thank you very much indeed. We have just a few minutes before the end of this session, but I mean, there was something that Tim was saying that I found quite interesting. He mentioned, is Tim still here? Tim Whitehead? I can't see Tim. It seems he's no longer here. Right, okay. But it was really interesting to hear about some products that were made, the microscope in Kenya that was cheaper than the, or equivalent in terms of functionality and value. And so one of the things, one of the questions around 3D printing is to really explore more about, what is the economic argument, the economic business model for that, because you still need, energy. Of course, it is not based on the economies of scale. It works more on the economies of one. So it will be interesting to explore a bit more about the profitability angle of implementing 3D printing on the continent.